Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, and welcome to New Life Live. Really glad you're here. We're approaching this wonderful, wonderful celebration, the birthday of Jesus. And joining me today, two doctors of love. Also counseling, psychology, things like that. Yeah. Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris is in the studio. Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Good. And Dr. Alice Benton is right there.
Yes, sir.
Hi.
Great to be on with you both today.
You guys are great gifts to all of us here. And I was thinking this morning about one of the gifts I have, and I'll show it off to you. I have the gift of fast math, and a lot of people don't know that. But Alice, give two large numbers. I will multiply them and give you a fast answer. Go ahead.
312 times 47.
14.
Wait a minute.
Well, see, it's not accurate, but it's fast. See what I'm saying? And the reason I bring that up is that that's what a lot of people do with their lives. They want something fast, and they think they know what that needs to be. They're on their own, living life under their own power, their own wisdom, and it really isn't. And you won't ever know that if you don't open yourself up to hear a different way. I sure did that, and it changed everything. And even though it changed everything, there are people in my life that would like it to change more and deeper and richer, but that's what we do. We continue to grow. But just imagine if I actually thought I had given you the right answer and I was bragging about it. Wouldn't that be horrible? Well, that's what we see people doing, and we don't want you to do that. Not in this next year. And you don't have to. And you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and we'll help you find a different path, God's path.
Steve, that fast answer, it may feel right and we want quick relief. We want the answer now. But what New Life does is take us through a pretty difficult process so that we access genuine contentedness, joy, peace on the other side. But you point out frequently how it can feel worse to get into the process of healing before it feels better. Even you folks that have the courage to call us, it's incredibly difficult to call. But there is peace after we do the hard step that God is pointing us towards.
Yes, and if you do call, you would call this number. And we're going to be here for 2 hours, 1-800-229-3000, 1-800-229-3000. And Jacqui Mack, some people think that they have a way, they've stuck with that way, but they're going to be alone this Christmas with that way. And I don't ever want that to happen. I don't want it to happen this Christmas. What do you say?
I say find people with a like mind, whether that's in your church community. New Life has groups that you can get involved in. This is a good time to try to connect with other people. So even if you're an introvert and you really like your alone time, find someone to spend a day with. It doesn't have to be the whole season. Just, a little bit of time. We're created for relationship. We need others.
And think about opening up your home to somebody that might be alone and lonely. We do have a tip sheet for you if you want it. 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com on how not to feel lonely and unloved this Christmas. And it just tells you right there what to do. It's a really great tip sheet. You call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But if you want to join us, 1-800-229-3000. Fast math is not that great unless you're a genius or something. And then I question, do they memorize these things or what? Anyway, we'll take a break and come right back with your call, 1-800-229-3000. Glad you're with us today.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. They're just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. The Every Man's Battle Intensive can help.
After 7 years, he just, in one weekend, came back a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
He said this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the intensive is coming to Washington, D.C., January 12th through the 14th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEWLIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
I really felt prompted by the Lord to call in, because if it had not been for this ministry, I would not be the mother I am. I would not be the woman that I am because of this ministry, because I had no money to go to a therapist. I had no money to go. And that's why now I want to challenge people that when you're giving this Christmas, make sure New Life is included in that, because there is no way you can turn to in the world and find a ministry like this with committed people. And I'm just encouraging everyone that love God in a way that you want to serve Him by serving this ministry. I'm just asking everyone out there, buy a gift to Club New Life for your children. Buy a gift for your friends and associates, those that have company, like I have a company. Buy that gift for them so that their lives can be transformed from the inside out. If it had not been this ministry, I would have ended my life and left my 3 children. Don't leave this ministry out this December. Please give to them. Please help someone else survive. Share it with other people. Raise money. Do a fundraising that you can give, because I would not be here had I not had this ministry.
Oh my goodness! I'm going to declare her caller of the year. Did you hear that she didn't have money for a therapist? Now she has a company. And we see this kind of transformation and things coming together that you never dreamed would over and over again. And I just hope and pray that if you're at the end of your rope, she said she was suicidal. Please help us. Maybe you already sent a gift and you're rethinking. We would love that second gift, because we use it to reach people. And once we reach them, we teach them that there's a better way, a different way. And then for some, it's not just teaching. You need to be treated. So we reach and teach and treat. That's what we do here. And we've been doing it for 35 years. And if you could help us, we would be oh so grateful to you.
Steve.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Yes.
When I couldn't afford therapy either, I found that I could afford listening to New Life because I got it for free. And I listened for a long time for free. And I just ignored the pleas to support it. And then I found out how much it costs us to be on the air at New Life. And it is expensive. I thought it was free for New Life. I thought New Life was paid to be on the air. How wrong was I?
No.
And I felt convicted that I was receiving the best quality therapy by listening to New Life. And I could and I should give back, even if it just had to start out very small. I become a Club New Life member, and the gains that I still receive, even just with the books over the years that you receive when you're a part of Club New Life, oh, it is so worth it. And my conscience is clear, knowing that I'm giving back when I've received so much.
Very grateful for your support, your contribution on radio, and also your support. And you know, I just hope and pray if you need a Bible, you'll support us. We can send you a Bible. We love getting people into God's Word. And there is a 1-year Bible for men, 1-year Bible for women. Great to get that. Start off January 1st. So just call us, Life Recovery Bible, Every Man's Bible. in April, Every Woman's Bible, that's going to be a game changer. You can look for that.
Yeah, I can only
Tyndale House
imagine.
says, well, go ahead.
I was going to say, I can only imagine how great that one will be, because the 1 year Bible for women is fabulous. So I'm looking forward to restarting January 1.
Tyndale House is spending more money on that project than any product in the history of Tyndale House.
Oh.
So they really believe in it, and it's going to be fantastic. All right. 1-800-229-3000. Let's go down to the Virgin Islands, to St. Croix, and let's talk to Susan. Hi, Susan. How you doing?
Good afternoon. Happy holidays. I could be better.
Okay. What's going on?
I'm a Christian, and I've been working for an organization for 20 years, and I've been having a lot of challenges with my supervisor, and I guess I'm a bit having some challenges because, I need to address the situation because it went overboard. There was an incident a few weeks ago where she, acted out, and so it's gotten to the point where I feel like there's nowhere to go. I mean, I'm praying about it. I've forgiven her, but I feel like she's not going to change. Nothing's going to change, so I need to take it to the next step.
Okay, so just help us for a second here. What did she do that was so inappropriate as a supervisor?
Well, she has a tendency of yelling, shouting or talking loud or being demanding. But what happened recently was her really yelling to the, where other employees and where she was could hear, and hanging up the phone.
Has anybody ever talked to Human Resources about her behavior? Because there's not any excuse for a person having that kind of anger and rage, that it would be a regular event, that there'd be yelling at work. Has anybody ever talked to Human Resources or anybody else about it?
I tried to speak to, she didn't give me a chance to speak to her that day because she hung up, but I did mention it to HR, and they said that for anything to be done, I would need to document and submit it in writing. And honestly, it's a very stressful situation.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to get to this. I didn't want to have to get HR involved because I don't like it. It has an impact on my health. I mean,
yeah.
It is the anxiety and the stress and everything involved with it.
Okay, so
part of me just wants to forgive it and leave it alone, but I just know she's not going to stop.
Yeah. All right. So let's hear from Alice, and then Dr. Jacqui Mack, and then I have a couple of final comments here.
Susan, I can hear the tremble in your voice, and so I get a sense of how much this affects you. And I would guess that you've experienced somebody like this before in your life. Who does she remind you of who had maybe a position of authority and also yelled?
Sadly, my former supervisor, and I told myself that I would not allow this supervisor to go past a certain point, which I have let her, because it's a combination of things, her yelling, her taking advantage of me, I'm doing her work for her, and her just being demanding. But yes, I have had a supervisor like her in the past that was even worse.
Even worse. Oh, my goodness. It does not surprise me that there's been somebody else. And I would even think probably in your family of origin, there was an angry person who was very powerful. Would you identify for us, Susan, if you were to document it and share it with HR, what is the worst thing you're afraid would happen?
Nothing. That nothing will happen. And then she becomes even more difficult and tries to find ways to make me look like a bad employee.
And so if you don't take this further with HR, what's your other thought of what you'll do? Might you have to leave the job?
Although that has been my breaking point feeling, it doesn't make sense. I've been there for 20 years. She's been there for 2 years? And she has poor work ethic. I shouldn't have to leave my job, which I I love the job and the work. I love working. It's just the person that I have to report to.
Well, we want to give you some specific things that you can do, but it's going to take some courage. Alice, what are some things she should consider?
Well, Susan, I'm going to go with some biblical principles here. The Bible sets a high standard for us because it says when we have a problem, a chronic problem, we are to try to address it individually, which you had intended to do. And that might have to happen in writing with your supervisor rather than in person because she may be too...
I did.
Excellent.
I
You already
emailed her
did.
asking her to please, schedule a meeting. I asked her in writing twice, and then I reminded her in verbally, but she didn't respond to the email. But then verbally, she was like, "You want to have a meeting right now?" And I'm like, "No, I would like for us to schedule a meeting so we can meet via Teams." And I specified Teams because then it would be more official and it would be documented.
So, Alice?
So, Susan, you already checked that off. That's very good that you attempted to do that with her, and that might be some of the documentation that will probably need to be shared with HR. But you've got to get the courage to take that step HR is asking of you, and you probably need the support to deal with your anxiety. So this is a call to assertiveness, and if you don't have that kind of support in your circle, you might need to add a coach for a brief period of time to help you through this period. And we can connect you with a coach who can help you role play, practice, and work through this situation with you, kind of hold your hand through it.
Yeah, I agree with Dr. Ellis that there's probably somebody in your family you've been trained to tolerate this. And maybe in your faith walk, maybe it's been leadership in church because you said you're a Christian.
My father.
It was your father?
My father played the role of.
Okay.
So you don't want what would happen if you tried to speak up as a child to happen now, right? If you tried to speak up to your father and tell him that what he's doing is wrong, bad things happen, you get hurt. And so you're feeling like the same thing can happen here, but it's just perpetuating that continued behavior. HR is there for a reason, and there are policies, there are trainings we do every year about workplace harassment. She has created a hostile work environment for you. You have every right to report her. You emailed her and asked her for a meeting. She's not responding. Email your problems to her. Say, we haven't gotten a chance to meet, but here are the things that are concerning me, and I'm just going to go ahead and send it in this email because our schedules aren't aligning for us to meet. Then you have documentation. And there should not be any retaliation. That's HR's job, is to prevent that from happening. So stop going to her. She's not responding. You're not going to get anything different from her. You already know that. So stop trying to look for it, to dig for it. And because no matter how much you excavate, you're not going to get what you're looking for from her. You're going to have to step out of your comfort zone and report it.
Okay, so these are things that require courage and forethought. I'm just going to make another couple of suggestions to you. If she is this way, and I really believe she is, and she's been there 2 years, you've been there 20, there are other people that have been hurt by her. And so one of the most powerful things you can do is ask if they would join you in a discussion about what the workplace is like. Now, I ran a hospital, and one of the executives was removed because the nursing staff was treated so poorly. They got together, and they came to the top, and they said, here are the problems we're having. Here's what we've done. Nothing has been done through HR. Nothing's been done through my emails. No, nothing. And here I am, 20 years, loyal, faithful. She's been here 2 years. And here are the symptoms that I'm experiencing that I didn't experience before she was here. Here are the things that she's doing that are so painful to experience, so inappropriate. Even if it's just the yelling alone, no one should have to come to work like that. But I would get everything on paper. I would see if there are other people that have the same experience, and I would document it, and I would band together and I would go to her boss and talk about this because she hasn't done anything. You have gone to her, like it says in Matthew 18, and she's done absolutely nothing. The other thing is I really would do exactly what HR has asked you to do. Now, all of this is the opposite of people-pleasing, acquiescing, and passivity. You are not a child anymore. Your father doesn't have any power over you, and this lady shouldn't. Just use that word, shouldn't. I want you to be free. I'll send you Take Your Life Back, where we learn to respond to people, not react. And the appropriate response here is to not enable her evil to exist anymore in the workplace, and to help other people resolve this because you've got the insight and the wisdom. We'll be back right after this. Glad you're with us today. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and one of the early Indiana Jones films, he needed to cross this big chasm, but there was nothing to walk on. But he was told if he stepped out, the bridge would appear. In other words, he had to do something before there would be evidence that he could do what he needed to do. Took the step, and there was the bridge. We must take a step, a leap of faith before God will give us the evidence of all the things that we've hoped for. Here at year end, please make a big step and support us in faith.
To make your tax-deductible gift, visit newlife.com and click Donate. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or text NLM to 28950. That's NLM to 28950.
I have given to New Life regularly because I have so many people that I am referring to New Life who so benefit from the ministry. I just can't imagine what would happen in my area if New Life wasn't available to us.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Prayer, 100 Days of Freedom from Depression, and 100 Days of Peace. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. If you think that the Christian is always supposed to be the nice person who acquiesces and just lets things happen, look at some of the passivity that God addressed. It's pretty amazing. David was a passive father, and here is a son. He's a rapist, and David doesn't want to trouble him by confronting him. Passivity. So there's so many examples, and we don't want people getting belligerent and all of that or entitled, but there are times just like the one we heard where you just have to take action, and you're not just going to help yourself, you'll help somebody else. Now, we talked about loneliness at Christmas, but you know what else? There are people that aren't lonely this year because they did something about it last year, the year before, the year before. And that could be you. And we have these great intensives coming up in January, February, March. And please think about, do I need to go to Every Man's Battle? Or think about, is it really going to be better for me if I go to Lose It for Life and lose 20 pounds and keep them off for the rest of my life? Is it better for me to have emotional freedom or the intimacy in marriage where maybe I don't even know why I'm attracted to the person I'm married to and why I chose this kind of attachment? And I got to tell you, if you don't know your attachment style, if you don't know what's the basis of that, you're kind of flying blind in a troubled relationship, we can really help you. You can find out all about those at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Steve, I was just talking to a family who 6 months ago was facing a divorce because of infidelity. And because of every man's battle, they're having just an intimate family Christmas, not even with extended family, because they so want to be with each other, and they're enjoying each other's company because they've gotten into the tough healing work outlined in Every Man's Battle and in Every Man's Marriage.
Awesome. Very, very wonderful. Well, just let us help you. You have to be open to it, but when you're open, you close some doors that are very painful, and you open some windows and doors, and the Holy Spirit just comes rushing in, and you're able to do things you never dreamed you could do, and to feel some freedom you might have thought not possible. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Let's go to Sarah, Morgantown, West Virginia. Listens on Sirius XM satellite, channel 131 at 1 p.m. Eastern. Hi, Sarah. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. How can we help you?
I have a son that is having trouble in his marriage, and I went and spoke with him, and he said that they were trying to work it out, and I encouraged him to get counseling. I later found out, not too far after that he was actually seeing someone, which he did not tell me. I wrote him a letter and told him that he would never work out his marriage as long as he was seeing someone. His father went and spoke to him, and I was with him the other night and at a family affair, and I could tell that my son was very angry. And so I don't know that the affair's ended. I think that he's told his wife that it has, but emotionally, I don't think it's ended. And what his wife is telling me is not what my son is telling me. He is finding fault with everything she does. I'm not saying she's not at fault too, but it takes two.
Yeah.
So my question is, I don't know how much to be involved. I'm talking to my daughter-in-law. I don't want to go behind my son's back, but at the same time, I support my son, but I think I know what he's doing is wrong, and I just don't know what to do.
Couple of things before I turn this over to Jacqui. Your daughter-in-law needs to be treated like your daughter, in my mind.
She is.
Okay. So you're not going behind his back. You're addressing a problem with one of the kids. The second thing is, I wouldn't be getting him a bunch of wonderful, nice Christmas presents. I would tell him you'll pay for him to go to Every Man's Battle. That's what he needs to do. He can't get over this on his own. Telling her he's done and all that, well, those are nice words, but where's the character getting built? What's he doing to connect with other men or God's Word or a recovery program? Nothing. That's what I'd be saying. Okay, so now that the affair's over, just go with it. Now that it's over, what are you going to do to show her you'll never do it again? Because what I see is a lot of criticism of her, putting her down, almost like you're trying to create an excuse for what you did.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you want, at this point, to really be direct with him, and especially his dad needs to be direct with him. And then I would be saying to her, she needs to get into a support group like Life Recovery Group with other women, where he sees her walking out the door, getting help to live with him. Changes everything versus, she kind of ceases to exist in his mind. That's how the affair happened. So that when we come back, we'll hear from these two wonderful women. So I hope you'll stay tuned. There really is a tremendous amount of hope here, but it doesn't come from everybody acting like it's over. It might be over, but the character defect isn't over. That's what we want to see treated. And that's what Life Recovery is all about. That's what Healing is a Choice is about. Take Your Life Back. All of these things that can lead to a transforming process. Then you go to intimacy in marriage. And that brings you back together in a way. It's hard to understand. It's so good.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery. And one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here. And when you call 1-800-NEW-LIFE, you can say, hey, I got a problem. What should I do? And one of the options might be a coach, counselor. We have a network, big network all over the country. And we'd love to help you. But you have to call us. If we knew your number, we'd call you, but we don't. So you have to call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Well, Jacqui, we've got a situation here where a mom is aware of, let's say, son gone awry here. What do you think is the best thing she could do?
Well, first, Sarah, I just want to say my heart breaks with you as a mom of adult children. And it's just heartbreaking to see them in this struggle. And so I really appreciate your love and your care for both of them and their family. And I think you've done a bunch of great things. I agree with Steve, though, the idea of stating, regardless of whether he says he's done with the affair or not, the trauma from the affair isn't done. And his going to every man's battle is a commitment to changing himself to improve his marriage. It's him taking ownership. And so I would really push for that because, as you said, he's very critical, I guess, of his wife. And so that's his, he can turn everything that he's doing around and find a reason why it's her fault. And in every man's battle, he's going to encounter men who will challenge those ideas, who will support him and love him and encourage him and lift him up, but who will also call him out on his stuff. And that's really what he needs. He's gotten it from his mother and his father. Now he needs some other strong men to surround him and help teach him how what he is doing is destroying his marriage and harming his wife.
Yeah. Alice, you have a quick thought here that might help?
Sarah, to add to the recommendation of getting your son to every man's battle, if at all possible, supporting your daughter-in-law and going to Restore, which we have coming up in February. It's here in California, but we sure would want her to be here so that we can come around her and we can love on her and help her get through this. You might consider whether or not you have any leveraging power in your son's life, especially if you financially support him at all. Doesn't sound like you do. But any kind of privileges he receives from you, you might limit or eliminate until he is in counseling, until he's getting that help. And so that might even be the pleasure of your company. Son, I want to be with you, and I'm willing to be with you once I know you're getting the help that you need. Decide, with God's help, if that's something to put into place. You might also think about having an intervention for him. We think about it more for addiction, but there's probably a level of addiction going on here with his infidelity. And an interventionist would gather together people in his life who have influence over him. That might include a pastor, siblings, cousins, particularly men, who are willing to gather together and with grace and truth address what he is doing and the way that he is destroying his family. But it works best having a professional interventionist prepare and guide, because it can go very wrong, but it can also be incredibly powerful. And go ahead.
No, go ahead, Alice.
You might ask your daughter-in-law, how can I best support you? Do you want to come and stay with us? Do you need help with the kids if they have children? Lay out options for her and let her decide what you can do for her.
All right. I hope and pray that you and your husband will step up and love him, tell him you love him, care for him, but also help him feel some of the consequence of the choices that he's making. Not to shame him, but to just matter-of-factly tell him, here's what needs to be done. You can't just walk away from an affair and then try hard, because it just doesn't work. You can't just act like you're going to be spiritual. It just doesn't work. You must connect with other people. James 5:16, confess your sins to one another, pray for each other that you might be healed. All of us who've ever dealt with addiction, we know what it's like to isolate, to deceive, all these kinds of things that just you have to do to maintain the deception. Well, don't buy into that. Don't let him just one day decide, okay, I'm done with that. It's only a matter of time. And if you're the guy, come on, let's get some character building going. 2 years later, you'll be a different man. Absolutely will. One day later, you can be on a different path. And if you need some help, you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Steve, by nature, we moms might take the gentle, soft, supportive, encouraging approach. And I hear it in Sarah's voice. I think that comes naturally to her. But there's also a time to choose to reveal our righteous anger, and to do so with the tone of our voice, with the angry words that we use. I proactively, intentionally change that voice, use that voice with my children when they're doing something dangerous. This is the time to reveal righteous anger to your son. And that's the best way to love him.
Very, very good. Well, I'm going to send him a Life Recovery Bible and the workbook on sexual integrity, and I hope that'll be of help to him. Let's go to Alex, Lexington, Virginia. He's called us at 1-800-229-3000. Sounds like you're driving down the road there, Alex.
I am. I'm not sure if you can hear me well, but
I can hear you.
Hi.
How could we help you?
I have a story here that's some of it's going to sound almost made up, but I'll try to be as concise as possible. I'm a 59-year-old college professor. I met a colleague at work, and we became involved, both divorced. I have adult kids who are grown and gone. She has kids, 17 and 12, living in the house. She had been involved in a 6-year relationship, unmarried, with a billionaire, a legitimate billionaire. No talk of marriage. This relationship was supposedly coming to an end. He had unlimited resources to the point where he built her a $1 million plus house a half a mile away and put her there, where she stayed for 3 or 4 years. She expressed to me how dysfunctional the relationship was, how much she wanted out of it. We got involved. One thing led to another, and for lack of a better term, we fell in love with each other, expressed these feelings to each other as recently as Thursday. By Friday, apparently this man and his therapist, this is the odd part, had called her, one of the odd parts, had called her on speakerphone to try to get her to come into counseling so they could patch things up. which she has apparently agreed to do, and now has cut off all communication from me. And I am feeling at this point absolutely devastated, not knowing really how to think, how to move forward. And I will tell you, one of the most difficult things for me is I prayed about this relationship at the very beginning. And I prayed that if this was something that God was involved in, that he would encourage me one way or the other or shut it down so that I wouldn't be destroyed if it were to go sideways. And that appears to be exactly what happened. By way of background, the relationship, even though it was a short time, was somewhat cyclical in that there were all of these entanglements. She would be up, she would be down. There were all of these external forces. Her kids, which were not his kids, were attached to this man because he was sort of a daddy warbucks type of figure to them.
So what is the question? What's the question for us? Tell us how we could help you.
The question is, how do I move forward? How do I think about this now that this has happened? Do I just forget about it and try to move forward? I'm just not sure what to do because I feel I'm in such pain right now.
Yeah. Oh, man. I think all of us who have really cared about somebody and then there's been the betrayal or the breakup, this seems extremely difficult because, like you say, it was just last week she seemed to be connected with you. So I have a suggestion for you. And it's a really hard suggestion. And that is that I want you, through this, to learn some things about God and some gifts that God has given us. And they help us to move forward. You said, how do I move forward? Do I just forget it? Well, no. It's really sad. But it's not sad in the long run because a woman who would kind of set herself up in $1 million home like this with the obligations that would come with has some judgment problems. Her involving you when there's unfinished feelings with this other person, that's a judgment problem. And once married, if you had married her, things in judgment problems, character problems, they don't get better, they tend to get worse. And I can only imagine the kind of pain that you have been spared because this has happened. But I want to talk to you about some other gifts God's given you through the process.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and Alex, with great faith, has prayed to the Lord to provide some guidance here. And during the break, Jacqui had an insight there, and then I want to share something else with you. But Jacqui, what were you thinking?
Well, what I was thinking, Alex, is God is so good and he is so faithful and he does answer our prayers. And you were in full submission when you said, here's this relationship, God. If this is for me, thank you. If this is not for me, stop the forward progress of it so that I'm not devastated. Imagine how much more devastated you would be if you had married her. And God just rescued you, released you, and gave you one closed door so that you can walk through the next open door. And I think it's a gift, as hard as it is, as awful as you feel right now. That roller coaster that you had been on with her, you get to get off now. And I would choose to stay off of it.
And Alex, here's what no man probably could do, but it would have been the right thing. When you started talking with her and found her interested in you, you would say, I really can't date somebody that's living in $1 million home built by a billionaire. It seems to me to be free of the previous relationship, you'd have to move out of that home. You'd have to sell that home for us to be able to start a relationship. Now, who could do that? I don't know that I could. But now that this has come about and you've seen how superficial the relationship was, she could just walk away, then I'm going to send you Healing as a Choice, because the way you move forward is you go through a grieving process. And grief is the gift from God that you don't have to feel the same level of pain 3 months from now that you're feeling today. And when we go through a grieving process, we're grieving what was taken from us. Hopes, a future, a vision of our lives together, wasted time. And so you grieve that. And then as you do, you're able to accept the reality that's left. And there's a great reality for you at 59. And then once we accept that, we can embrace it and say, okay, now let's go make something of this that never would have existed if I hadn't gone through that painful thing. So we don't just get through it or over it. We get beyond it, and we benefit others from what we've been through. And pretty soon, you're saying, man, that painful thing was actually a gift. I've never gone back to that level. I've never impulsively gotten involved. And none of this feels good or right when you're in the midst of the pain of suddenly being abandoned or the relationship cut short. So I want to send you Healing as a Choice. I think it will really, really help you with this. It was written as a way to heal from a major tragedy like a divorce or a loss of a loved one. And I think and hope and pray there's a workbook with it that it will help you. And I'm really glad that you called. God bless you. Let's pray for you, because there's nothing unpainful about any of this. Well, I don't have time to go to another phone call. I have to ask if there's any way Daniel and Barb and Karen can hang on. We will definitely get to their calls in the next program. If you'd like to join us, the next program is going to be a little snappier here, and we'll get to your call too. But let me just encourage you today to think about this ministry and the fact that we hear this all the time. The only counseling I have is listening to New Life counsel somebody else and then I follow that advice for me. I mean, we hear it all the time. Just the other day, a gentleman said, I heard you giving advice to this woman, and I had been doing exactly what she had been doing. I took the advice that you gave her, and I have to tell you, my marriage turned around. And he said, we've been married 29 years. There are people that support us, and all we did, they called, all we did is say, hey, how about going to this marriage counselor that's really, really good? And it changed everything. We have these wonderful intensives that really do transform lives. It's amazing the kind of shift and change that can happen in a weekend. And this next year, we're doing some really exciting things. I mentioned this on another day, that Every Man's Battle is something that happens in a hotel. Well, that's expensive. Food's expensive. We have created a model that we're trying out this next year. And it's taking Every Man's Battle into a church, actually 3 churches coming together, and us trying to transform the men of that church. Now think about this. More men have looked at pornography during the previous week. Now these are the good guys. These are the guys that are in church. More of those men looked at pornography than opened a Bible. Now just think about the difference it would make if more men in that church, your church, opened the Bible, asked God to reveal himself and his wisdom, and never looked at pornography. Now, those of us who have struggled in the past with pornography or lust or anything like that, you know how powerful it is. And there's only one thing more powerful. Not you, not even a group, but it's God. And when we surrender to him, we are stepping up to the supernatural power of the creator of the universe. You say, okay, I'll do that tonight. Well, yeah, it would be great if it's that easy. But it's a process of not needing and wanting the things that are bad for you. And you end up, like when you work the 12 steps, in the 11th step, it says, all I want is to know what is God's will for me. And all I'm asking God for is to know his will and to have the strength and the power to carry that out. Now, I have to tell you, any man that goes from obsessing over images of women or affairs or whatever, when you go from that to all you do is seek to know God's will and have the ability to carry his will out. You're not begging God for things. You're really living a life as a spiritual man with character, beyond what most people will ever achieve. Now, if you want that, it requires humility. It requires a group of people, and it requires the power of the Holy Spirit, the example of Jesus' life, the wisdom that comes from God's Word, and the power that God has over addiction and every other affliction that's there. Call us. Let us help you. Let this 2024 year be the best year ever. The year that everything got better. That can actually happen. We were just talking about a group that have worked together and have grown together, and they're living different lives together. And that could be you. So call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now, if you can help all of that happen, please do. We've got a matching gift, $200,000, and all you have to do to give is to text the word MATCH, M-A-T-C-H, to 28950, 28950. Help us if you can. If you want to join us on the next program, 1-800-229-3000. Thank you, Alice and Jacqui, and all of you who support us. God bless you.
We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE, but when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.